Hey everyone, Kyle Meinke here from MLive.com. Here at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, home of Steelers training camp. Lions are here for a couple of days for joint practices. I'm sure you guys have read about it. A lot of stuff going on. It's a very cool atmosphere out here with a couple thousand fans probably screaming for Antonio Brown yesterday, going in his matchups against Darius Slay. There's a real palpable energy here. Certainly, I think something for the Lions to consider, considering how stale maybe some of their practices have been in Allen Park. Just not very attended very well, I would say, this year. But one thing that really stood out to me this week with the joint practices with the Steelers was Marvin Jones, and it's just something I wanted to talk about in the video because I caught some flack from fantasy people and from some national writers for saying that I think Marvin Jones could be this team's #1 receiver. The argument being that he's never been a #1 receiver in the league before. The Lions have obviously Golden Tate and a lot of options out there. And I get that. Like, Marvin Jones has never been a true one in the league, but he's also had A.J. Green to compete with, and A.J. Green, just like Calvin Johnson, is one of these bona fide #1s, and he's just not going to get as many balls. And what I've seen from Marvin Jones, and it's not just one practice, it's for maybe almost a week now. It's a guy who's extremely versatile, who Matthew Stafford's targeting all over the field, and especially as a deep threat. And that's something that Golden Tate, as for as good as Golden Tate is, that's not his forte. He's at his best when he's catching balls in the short game, in the intermediate game, and racking up the yak. He's one of the best guys in the league in space. That's where I want Golden Tate, and I think that's where the Lions want him too. Marvin Jones, he can do some of that stuff, maybe not quite as much with the yak, but he wins those short routes because he has great hands. He runs very crisp routes. I've been very impressed with Marvin Jones as a route runner. But he also has the deep threat capabilities. Easily clear-cut #1 when it comes to the deep threat for Matthew Stafford, and that's still a part of this offense. Jim Bob Cooter has talked about that. He still wants the deep ball to be a part of this offense. For these reasons, I see Marvin Jones being the guy who Matthew Stafford goes to when he definitely needs a chunk play, when he needs something picked up. Just like with Calvin Johnson in the past, I think that would be Marvin Jones's role this year. Having said that, Golden Tate fantasy owners, he's still going to be a huge part of this offense. He's led the Lions in receptions the past 2 years, even with Calvin Johnson in the fold. And I still think he's going to have a role like that. He's still a very good player, but he's had some drops, which is uncharacteristic for him in camp. And I see him still filling a very similar role in this offense as a chain mover. Marvin Jones, he's just so athletic. He gets open. He's beating Darius Slay in intra-squad practices and scrimmages with the Lions, and out here with the Steelers on day 1, I was extremely impressed with what he was able to do with Matthew Stafford and their chemistry. I saw Matthew Stafford attempt 14 passes in that first practice against the Steelers, and 7 of them were attempted to Marvin Jones, and 6 of them were completed. No one else had more than 2. So not just one practice with Marvin Jones. It's a systemic thing that I see happening with the Lions. I just see him as being the #1 threat for this offense at receiver, with respect to Golden Tate and what he can provide there. From Latrobe, Pennsylvania, for MLive, I'm Kyle Meinke.